Welcome to Daily Conversation. This is Mr. K.
This is Eric.
Yeah, today is the 11th of December 2021, and the time now is 6:16 a.m. Well, today is our reading session, and we are going to continue reading the book Eat to Beat Disease. And before we get started, please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, so here we go. Innate immunity, master of inflammation. If you recall the local swelling that happens almost immediately after you cut yourself, you were watching the innate immune system do its job. The innate system is the first responder to any invasion of your body. It acts like a guard dog ready to spring into action the moment a stranger steps into your yard. This system is non-selective and simply blocks and tackles anything in its path. The innate defense includes physical, chemical, and cellular components. Your skin is the physical barrier to intruders. Secretion in your mouth, nose, and airway contain enzymes that wage chemical warfare to kill any invader that you inhale or get in your mouth. If you swallow any microbes, your stomach acid will dissolve them. Coughing and sneezing forcefully ejects foreign invaders that have crawled into your nostrils and lungs.
The cell of the innate system create inflammation, which is the body's response to tissue damage or inflammation. Inflammation brings specific immune cells into the injury site, keep the enemy ward off and contained to a specific area to invaders, and then dispose of their bodies. Special cells that raise to the sense are called phagocytes. Phago in Greek means evolve. These cells are neutrophil, monocytes, macro, macrophage, and mast cells, which remove potentially harmful particles and microbes by consuming them. Additionally, phagocytes eat cellular co- corpses and debris from tissue damage. They make pools in infected wounds, and they can guide other immune cells to the trouble zone.
Yeah, the sixth line, the fourth words from behind. Yeah, this one I think should be devour, and you pronounce as devour.
How to pronounce?
Devour.
Devour. Okay.
And also the second line from the bottom, the fourth words from behind. And this one I'm not sure, I think is pass, and you pronounce as puss. Let me check the pronunciation. Yeah, so should be pass.
Okay. Pass.
Swelling, pain, redness, and increased warmth are the cardinal sign that inflammation is taking place. One type of phagocyte, the mast cell, comes on the scenes and release histamine. This chemical causes blood vessels to vaso, vasodilate, making the area look red and feel hot. Chemical signals are also released that make the di- dilated blood vessel leaky. Fluid and proteins rush out of the leaky blood vessels into the hot zone, causing tissue swelling. If you've ever suffered hay fever, this is the same process that leads to the swollen red eyes and runny nose. The antihistamine you take calms this down. The proteins that leak out of the blood vessel help clot blood and any bleeding that might be happening in the scene. But the swelling and chemical signals ir- ir- irritate, irritate nerves, causing pain. A similar inflammatory effect takes place in the airways if you have an asthma attack or in the gut if you have a food allergy.
White blood cells release chemical signals called cytokines that control the intensity of the inflammatory response. One of the most important of these signals is called interference. This chemical interferes, hence the name, with virus infections and triggers other immune cells to charge into battle, including natural killer NK cells. These cells has the ability to distinguish abnormal from normal cells, abnormal, abnormal from normal cells. If an abnormal cell is spotted, the NK cell works with specialized proteins to incapac- incapacitate and kill it. Mission accomplished. A cleanup crew of phagocytes then gobbled up any debris.
Under normal circumstances, the innate immune response is short-lived and subsides within a few days. When it's time to turn down the inflammatory response, a signal called interleukin 10 made by the immune system shuts down the show and brings the immune defenses back into a normal state of balance in health. If inflammation is not calm, however, the immune response can become a chronic state and normal cells can become damaged.
You can see at this point how the ability to mount an inflammatory response helps our body repel bacterial invaders. This is important. This is an important point because when you hear about so-called anti-inflammatory diets, bear in mind that under normal circumstances, you don't want to completely wipe out your body's ability to turn on inflammation.
Chronic inflammation, on the other hand, is a whole different situation and it's a problem. When the when the foreign invaders don't go away or when an autoimmune reaction turns the body against itself, the sustained inflammatory response can be devastating. Chronic inflammation is like a campfire that can't be extinguished and that spreads into the surrounding forest, sparkling, sparking a runaway wildfire that can destroy everything in its path. We will discuss this in greater detail later in this chapter.
The adaptive immune system. When you receive a vaccine to prevent a disease, like the polio vaccines, the adaptive immune system is responsible for creating the protection against the disease. The adaptive or acquired immune system is the smarter, more sophisticated branch of immune systems, unlike the innate systems, which is an blunt instrument. The adaptive system is very choosy about what it kills, and it has a permanent memory of the invaders it destroys. This memory helps trigger the immune system to deploy a rapid response team to the enemy, be it bacterial, virus, or cancer. Real is at again in the future. You can thank your adaptive immunities for all the diseases you get only one you get only once, like chickenpox, or never at all. After you are vaccinated against it, once the adapt once the adaptive immune response learns how to fight off a disease, it protects you for the rest of your life.
As part of its sophistication, adaptive immunity has two strategies. First, it can attack invaders by using cells to kill them. This is called medi- mediated immunity. Or, alternatively, it can use antibodies as weapons to attack an intruder and mark it for death. Because it takes 7 to 10 days for antibodies to be made the first time an intruder is spotted. This adaptive immune defense has a slow response time.
Adaptive immunity relies on T cells and B cells, both of which are formed in the bone marrow from stem cells. They are called hematopoietic stem cells. B cells stay in the bone marrow to mature. Once they've matured, they leave the bone marrow and move into lymph organs like the spleen, the gut, and the tonsils. There, they remain on active duty, waiting for an invader to show up. When an invasion occurs requiring immune defense, B cells swarm out from lymph organs to, to reach the invasion site and defend the body.
T cells, on the other hand, leave the nest early. They exit the bone marrow while they are still young and not yet mature. They travel to the thymus gland, which serves as a boot camp for T cells. There, they are trained to distinguish non-self cells, foreign invaders, the bad guys, from self cells, the good guys. At their qualifying test, T cells that recognize and kill non-self cells are allowed to graduate. They circulate to the peripheral limb tissues where they are stationed to wait for the call of duty. During qualifiers, friendly fire is not tolerated, so any T cell that accidentally kills a self cell fails the test and is destroyed. The only T cells leaving the thymus are those that are trained to destroy invaders and will not injure our normal cells.
Both T cells and B cells are skilled intelligence operators. They learn about foreign invaders and tailor their, respon- their responses accordingly. Once information about an invader is acquired, a counterattack is launched, and data about the enemy are recorded for future use. Each of us has an immune fouling system in our body containing data on all bacteria and infections to which we have ever had an exposure. On the battlefronts where enemies are invading, special cells known as dendritic cells relay information about what's happening to the adaptive immune system. Dendritic cells record data about the unique proteins fingerprints of bacteria, viruses, and cancer cells. On demand, they can present on demand they can present these fingerprints to the proper immune cells that will find, mark, and then kill the invader. T cells and B cells adjust their defense strategies once there's enough intelligence gathered on the front lines. The, the military the military analogy is especially appropriate when it comes to coordinating millions of cells to go into battle to defend the body. It's akin to protecting a fortress. If, if the troops are weak or lazy, the enemies will take over the castle. If they are, if they are uncoordinated, undisciplined, or acting without restraint, chaos will ensue. And if the troop turns against the commander, the mutiny, the mu, the mu, the, the mutiny can destroy the people they were supposed to protect. Thankfully, our immune defenses are normally well trained, highly disciplined, and dedicated to maintaining peace.
Cell-mediated immunity. To understand how foods activate the immune system, you need to know a little more about the change of command of the immune forces. Different foods influence different parts of the immune system. Some turn up defense while others turn it down. Diet tends to influence cell-mediated immunity, which involves T cells. Remember, there are three main types of T cells: helper T cells, cytotoxic T cells, and suppressor T cells, also called TRACs because they dampen down the immune system.
Helper T cells have a specific job. They help they orchestrate an immune attack against invaders by releasing signals that tell other cells what to do. They are called into actions when they see red alerts being sent by other parts of the immune system that have been called into battle. Some of the chemical signals released by helper T cells when the airstrike other immune cells, while other signals they release instruct B cells to make antibodies against the invader. T cells direct the cellular troops to attack, and they can also bring in reinforcements and new weapons as needed.
Cytotoxic T cells are combat fighters that directly go after and destroy bacteria, infected cells, or cancer cells. They get their hands dirty by making contact with the invaders and annihilating them. Like zombie hunters, cytotoxic T cells recognize and destroy formerly healthy cells that have been infected and are now threats. As I show you later, certain foods can activate and increase the numbers of helper T cells and cytotoxic T cells in your bloodstream as a way to boost your immune defenses.
Suppressor T cells attract yeah, are another very important regulator of immunity. These cells the critical job of quelling the immune system when the battle is done. They release chemical signals that turns off helper T cells and cytotoxic T cells, so the immune system can settle back down to its normal, health, healthy baseline state where all systems are on standby status. When the immune system isn't calm, it's uh, it's overactive. This is seen in autoimmune diseases. Some foods can increase the number of drugs in your bloodstream, and this can be helpful for preventing autoimmune flare.
Antibodies and a really long memory. When most people think of immunity, they think of antibodies. Antibodies are like bloodhounds that know how to sniff out and find an evildoer lurking in the body. Your B cells give birth to antibodies. B cells are constantly on patrol in the body, like soldiers patrolling the streets. Even when there does not appear to be an infection raging, B cells can take out bacteria and viruses that are silently free floating in your blood but haven't yet infected your cells. They do this by body surfing through your bloodstream to see if they can spot any foreign invaders floating by. The way B cells do this is by displaying antibody receptors on their outer surface, like quails and quail and porcupine. Porcupine. Each B cell is bris- bristling with up to 200,000 antibody receptors. These receptors are made to match up with abnormal antigens from bacteria and virus. Antigens are the pirate flags of foreign invaders. Any invader that has an antigen flag matching an antibody receptor will be snagged and dealt with by the B cell.
B cells also can respond to the signal released by helper T cells that are dealing with the problem. The B cells will float over to the area where the action is taking place and attach its receptors to the antigens of the invader. The name antigens is short for antibody generator. The attachment activates the B cells and it starts cloning itself over and over, creating more B cells that can make more antibodies designed to attack the specific invader is seen. Remarkably, each B cell can make and pump out 200 antibodies per second, twice the rate of fire of the miniguns, electric rotary machine guns. The antibodies hit the invaders and mark them for death, and phagocytes swarm in to destroy them. Most of the B cells will die in the battle. A few of them survive, survive and become memory cells. These memorize the invader characteristics and then go into hiding. The next the next time the same invader gets into the body, the memory B cells spring back into action with the know how to make the exact antibody again. Next time, more quickly destroy the enemy. I'll tell you later about foods like chili peppers and licorice that activate and increase the number of B cells in your body.
Fail immunity and disease. When your immune system fails at its job, your life is in serious jeopardy. True, invading bacteria and viruses do evade our defenses occasionally. That's why you catch a cold or come down with the flu. Massive attacks can come from outside the body or from within. Harmful microbes, for example, can gain entrance to our insides through our nose, mouth, eyes, ears, vagina, or anus, any orifice that is exposed to the outside world. And when you have a laceration, the opening in the skin is a gaping doorway for microbes to crawl in, en masse into the body. Before antiseptic techniques was invented in hospitals, women often die after childbirth from infections transferred by the unsterile hands of doctors and obstetric instruments from one mother to another. If our immune defenses are down, external invaders can have catastrophic consequences.
The best known example of life-threatening collapse immunity is acquired immune deficiency syndrome (AIDS). AIDS is caused by infections with the human immunodeficiency virus HIV, which nefariously strips away immunity from within. This leads to a high risk for catastrophes, infections as well as cancers to grow. HIV is an organism called a retrovirus that originated from West African chimpanzees and was transmitted to humans. The retrovirus adapted itself to invade and destroy healthy human T cells. Without adequate T cells, our body's ability to detect and kill all invaders, not just HIV, drops precipitously. Pres- The successful control of HIV infections in an infected patient has been one of the most significant accomplishments in modern medicine. Effective treatments can reduce the blood level of the latter virus to undetectable levels, allowing an HIV-infected individual to live an otherwise normal life.
There are also a number of inherited immuno, immunodeficiency conditions where patients have defective T cells, B cells, or phagocyte function, or deficiency in the complement pro, pro, proteins that help activate immune cells. These are known as primary immunodeficiency conditions and are rare. You may recall the iconic photo of the boy in the bubble, a young child with severe combined immunodeficiency known as SCID. He essentially had zero immunity and could not survive exposure to the outside world.
Your immune system can be also weakened by cancers such as multiple myeloma and leukemia. Infections, including HPV and hepatitis B and C. Medical treatments such as chemotherapies and radiation, diabetes, malnutrition, and alcoholism. Obesity suppresses the immune system. Studies show that individuals who are obese are at a higher risk for developing an infection after suffering trauma or while being in the intensive care unit compared to the non-obese people. This is because their immunity is lower by their metabolic obese state. In fact, simply being obese increases the risk of someone dying in a hospital, regardless of the reasons of hospitalizations, by as much as 7 times. Lower immunity in obese people also increases their risk of infections of the gums, period- periodon- periodontitis, bladders, skin, and lungs.
Our immune defenses are influenced by our gut microbiota. And this is an important area of research. Just under the surface of our gut lining is an immense immune command center called gut-associated lymphoid tissue, GALT. The immune cells inhabiting this layer receive signals from our gut bacteria to turn on or shut down immune defenses. Specific bacteria have been identified, such as Lactobacillus, Bifidobacteria, Akkermansia, Enterococcus, Alistypes, and Faecalibacterium that are beneficial for immunity. If these are deficient or missing, our immune defense is compromised. The Western diet may weaken the immune response because unhealthy foods interfere with the ecosystem of the microbiome. And this can cause miscommunication between the gut and our immune cells.
On the other ends of the spectrum, an immune army gone rogue can turn against our health. Autoimmunity is the term used to describe an overactive immune system, where normal cells and organs are attacked and the function is destroyed. There are more than 40 major disorders falling under the category of autoimmune diseases, including type 1 diabetes, system, systemic lupus, erythematosus, multiple sclerosis, psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, and systemic sclerosis. These all share the common features of chronic inflammation and self-inflicted immune damage to organs.
Autoimmune diseases do not have one cause, but instead are triggered by a number of factors: genetics, environment, infections, medication reactions, and shifts in the microbiome have all been implicated in autoimmune diseases. The common feature of autoimmune diseases is the breakdown of the normal control that quiets the immune defenses. When the disease flares, the immune attacks can be limited to a specific organ, or they can be a generalized attack throughout the whole body.
Type 1 diabetes is an example of an attack on a specific organ. These cells produce antibodies that targets the beta cells in the pancreas, which produces insulin. When T cells destroy those cells, the body is deprived, deprived of insulin and becomes unable to metabolize glucose in the bloodstream. This metabolic trips up leads not only to high levels of blood glucose, but also to malfunctions in many different cells and organs, and require regular insulin injections into the body in order to keep healthy functions going.
Yeah, the third line, the fourth words from behind. Yeah, just now maybe you are considering whether the first syllable is there or the. So this is deprive.
Deprived. And uh, if this is a noun, is it pronounced deprivations or else?
Oh, yeah, I'm not
Uh,
sure.
uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I always confuse the about this. Uh,
Yeah,
the,
so how about we hear the
yeah,
pronunciation from
can
the dictionary.
can put. No, I
Deprivation.
missed.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, when it is
Yeah.
announced, it is there.
That and also the second syllable is right?
Yeah,
Deprivation,
yeah,
de-
deprivation.
deprive and deprivation. Okay,
Mm, yeah,
Deprive.
yeah, right.
deprive and yeah, and this is quite similar to the prepare,
Mm,
and
yeah,
preparation.
preparation. Yeah.
Dep, de, de, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, they are the same. They are the same. I mean, the pattern is the same.
Mm.
Deprivation and preparation. Prepare and deprive. Yeah.
Mm. In multiple sclerosis (MS), your own antibodies attacked the insulation called myelin, which coats your nerves. These assaults affect your brain and spinal cords, as well as muscles, and is akin to having termites eat away at the electrical insulation within the walls of your house. With badly damaged nerves, people with MS have weak muscles, poor coordination, vision loss, brain deficits, and other serious problems of nerve function.
The last fault line, the sixth vocab,
Mm.
this is pronounced Akins,
Oh,
and you pronounce
okay.
Akins.
Mm. Aiken.
So yeah, so it's on the syllables.
Oh, yeah.
And also one thing I'm not sure
Mm.
because I heard somebody pronounce Aiken, somebody pronounce Aiken. Yeah, so the second syllabus, some people pronounce kins, some people
Mm.
pronounce kins. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I also don't know. But yeah, have you came across some pronunciation change when it is in a sentence? Uh, they like to change some of the pronunciation into the sound when it is in a sentence, so they can speak
Yeah,
faster.
yeah, yeah, and also speak fluent fluent
Yeah, more
speak
fluently, right?
yeah more fluently.
Hmm. Yeah. So I think maybe when this word is alone, maybe it's more like aching.
Mm,
Yeah, when maybe in a sentence, maybe it's aching.
yeah.
Yet another example. Okay. Oh, this
I
is
think
for
it's
me.
I think
Oh,
it's my
yeah, I'm
turn.
sorry.
Yeah. Yet another example is celiac disease. Individuals with celiac disease have an immune reaction to gluten, a group of proteins found in wheat, barley, and rye. The body's strong immune reactions to gluten cause, causes collateral damage to the wall of the intestines, creating leaks in the gut wall. Although the exact mechanisms of celiac disease is still a mystery, it's known that autoantibodies damage the small intestines and other organs, causing severe cramping pain. Fortunately, when gluten is avoided, the antibodies wane and and the symptom uh, and the symptoms usually go away.
On the other hand, an autoimmune attack can be generalized and affect virtually every part of the body. A truly dire situation. In the disease known as lupus systemic, lupus ery- eryth- erythematosus, an all-out antibody attack is launched against your own DNA, causing body-wide inflammation. The joints, skin, heart, kidney, and even brain can all become inflamed. A classic finding in the blood of lupus patients is the presence of antibodies that attack double-strand DNA. That these lupus autoantibodies tend to cluster together and form immune complexes, es- essentially microscopic hairballs that get deposited throughout your organs, causing them to malfunction.
Mm. Yeah. So Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the end of our today's reading, right?
Right.
Okay. Make a summary.
Okay. Yeah. So today we talk about immunity also, and then first it talk about innate immunity. Yeah, the innate immunity um they are actually the things that uh make us have the inflammation whenever we have maybe a wounds or a cut. And then when we see inflammation is actually the innate immunity they are working inside our body under the wounds. And then they basically signals the some other specific immune cells to kill the invaders. Yeah, and for example, there is one which is the phagocytes. Yeah, phagocytes is the one um, that will eat some others invaders. And then also we have the white blood cells. Yeah, this one release chemical, and then the chemical uh, signals other immune cells, and then to fight against the invaders. Yep, and then one of the cells that being signal is called the NK cells, which is the natural killer cells. And in one part, it says that sometimes when natural killer cells they kill the invader, and then the phagocytes come uh, and then they kind of like clear the debris, so they eat it. Yeah, so they clean it. And for innate immunity, they are actually short life. Yeah, and then in normal circumstances, they will just come maybe a few days and then they go. Yeah, if they didn't go back into a normal state, and then it can actually be a bad thing. Yeah, which is it can damage our own cells. And this kind of issue is called the chronic inflammation. Yeah, and then the other part is about the adaptive immune system, yeah, which is different from the innate immunity. Yeah, for this one, uh, it um, there is one very simple example is the vaccine. Yeah, we take vaccine and then we create the protection against diseases, and this is what uh, the relationship between vaccine and adaptive immune system and the diseases. And it is more sophisticated compared to the innate immunity. Yeah, because one of its works is like to keep memory of the invaders. Yeah, once there is, let's say, a kind of invader comes in, a kind of virus come in, and yeah, they will collect the data of the virus. So in the future, maybe this kind of virus comes again, they can like take them down in a shorter time, or even like we don't even feel it. Yeah, we don't even feel it because maybe they just do it very quick. And then the other reason of sophisticated is because they are good at identifying the virus. Yep, and then they are able to distinguish the good one and the bad one. Yeah, which is better than the previous one, the innate immunity. And then for adaptive immune system, it has basically two weapons. The first weapons is using the cell, yeah, to attack the invaders. This is basically T cells and B cells. And within T cells, there are three types. The first the first type is helper T. Second is cytotoxic T, and the third one is suppressor T. And yeah, it is quite technical, but I like to make it more understandable. helper T, I think it is like the leader. Yeah, they kind of like instruct how the other cells to fight with the invaders. So it is the leader. The cytotoxic, to me, it is like the fighter. That they are the ones who go to the front line and then fight with the invaders. And the next one is the suppressor. Suppressor T is like the stopper. When the war is over, when it is time to go back, and these kind of cells comes in, and then they signal the other cells to stop the war, and then uh, just come back and then become inactive. Yeah, and then these are the T cells. And on the other hand, we have B cells. And just now I say two weapons. One is cells, one is antibodies. So B cells basically give birth to antibodies. So you can think like B cells generate antibodies. And yeah, B cells seems like have multiple job, which is one is give birth to antibodies, and one is like I'm not sure. It's like maybe directly go and fight with the invaders. Because I saw one part is B cells. Basically, most of them die in the battle. So whenever there are viruses, bacteria, or what, and B cells are sacrificed. And talk about the second weapon, antibodies, yeah, which is produced by B cells. They need time to be made, yeah, which is like they have to develop the special kind of antibodies in order to kill the invaders. Yeah, and then yeah, this is one part, and then the other part talk about failed immunity and diseases. Yeah, uh, yeah, actually, the immunity and all the cells that killing invaders, yeah, they are strong, and then it is a good thing. But if they kind of like become overactive, then it could be a problem. And uh, yeah, if they are overactive, it is called autoimmune diseases, and then it can harm our body in two ways. One is it harms specific organ, yeah, and the other one is even worse, which is like it can be harmful to our whole body. And then also some other reason can cause our immunity system fail, which is like obesity. Yeah, and obesity basically make our immunity weaker. So we are having higher risk against those viruses, and then against the uh, maybe when talking about surgery, and then in the hospital, we are also have higher risk if we have the obesity problem. Yeah, and also one part talk about uh, the gut microbiota and the relationship to immune system. So this is like the previous topic. I mean the reading section. There is one talk about microbiome, and then we can see microbiome and the immune system, they are related. Yeah, uh, in some aspects. Yep. So yeah, I think these are my summary today.
Mm, yeah. And one thing I want to highlight in this reading session is about the last few lines about the glutens. And
Mm.
yeah, it happens. And sorry, it actually could be these glutens could be found from almost all grains. Yeah, especially like the wheat, and so including our rice, including I mean so all type of rice.
Mm.
Yeah, and it
Bread,
also like what?
the bread that we eat in the
Yeah,
morning.
yeah, yeah, right. And also potatoes. I'm not sure.
Mm.
Let me do a very quick check. uh, yeah, a potato not, yeah, potato don't have gluten. Okay, and yeah, and wait a minute. Here I actually found one's uh one uh one line say that
Mm,
rice is also naturally free from gluten. Okay, but I remember that I I read some other articles say that
mm,
rice is actually contain gluten, so there's some conflict here. Okay, and
mm,
now but after that we can did our own research,
yeah.
and okay, many food contain the gluten, and also uh yeah, some people who have the autoimmune diseases and also like the celiac disease,
Mm,
they need to avoid the gluten. Yeah, they need to avoid a lot of carbs, which is the carbohydrates, and also some vegetable. And also, not only glutens could be harmful for those people who have uh, auto immune diseases, and also some other very very uh, 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 very common very common chemical or very common substance could be also found in a lot of foods. And for example, one of this is the uh, this is called the uh, lecithin. If I'm not wrong, is pronounced lecithin.
okay.
And okay, for the minutes, uh,
Mm,
I I check the actual pronunciations. Yeah, this is pronounced lecithin. In Chinese, we call 软磷脂. Yeah, and
yeah, where can
um,
we
and
find uh, this thing in
okay,
food?
you can almost
Oh,
all processed foods because it is come from the soil. Yeah, come from the soil. So soybean, I mean, so no matter is the foods created from soy, for example tofu, and for example the soy sauce, and
mm,
almost everything, a lot of things is actually contain the soy.
mm,
So and make from soy so that it include the lecitins. And yeah, lecitins is kind of like is not harmful for non people, but it is harmful for those people who have the autoimmune diseases.
mm,
Yeah, and also others, one others uh, substance chemical can also found in the foods, and especially the fruits is the uh, fructose. Fructose. Uh, for the minute. Let me check against the pronunciations.
mm.
Fructose. Fructose. Yeah, this fructose is uh also very common because it is originated from the corns from the corns. So
Mm,
it is like the corn syrups. Yeah. So in Chinese, fructose called the 果糖. Yeah.
mm,
So yeah, and also like the diabetes, they need to avoid this, and also uh some people who have the autoimmune system, I'm not sure because I haven't done the research.
Mm.
Yeah. Maybe maybe they also need to avoid this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. So I miss it actually give us one sense, which is the food may not good for you, even though it's good for most of people, even though
Mm.
even though this is like uh not harmful for most
Yeah.
of people, but it may harmful for you if you have uh some conditions.
Mm.
And every humans uh their body condition is different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and also some people they don't have the serious autoimmune diseases, they don't have the celiac disease, and they eat too much glutens, or they eat too much lectins, or like the fructose.
Mm.
They also will have the chronic pain, which is the chronic inflammations. Yeah,
Mm.
like the abnormal pains. For
Mm.
example, like the back pains, neck pains, maybe like the one of these is called in Chinese it's called the 痛风, and in English I forget how uh, uh what is the what is the names. Okay, but let me check. Okay, yeah, gout, gout, gout. Yeah,
Oh.
and yeah, some people also eat too much of like these things like the grains, glutens. Yeah, they also will have the gout. Mm.
Mm. Yeah. Is it the
Yeah.
one that people will have pain in their joint?
Yeah, that one.
Mm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think my mom maybe have this problem because she said the doctor asked her not to eat too much bean. Yeah, all
Yes.
kind of bean.
Yeah. Yeah. Because bean is like the legumes. The legume is also similar to the grains. Yeah, they are like kind of like the big family
Mm.
together. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is my my summary for today.
Mm. Yep. Yeah. Right. There are certain foods which is maybe not so suitable for some people, and then even for me, I don't know the problem. I just couldn't eat too much seafood. A little will
Allergic.
be fine. Yeah, allergic.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can see actually if let's say you can't eat a type of food, sometimes actually your food options reduce quite a lot, right?
Mm.
Are limited. Let's say seafoods. There are so many types of seafoods, and yeah, I think there are some limitation here for
Yeah.
people like they have the allergic to gluten. I think it is more I mean the maybe the affection is even more serious. More types of food they couldn't consume.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I think the allergic, and also like the rash on your skins, and like the itchy or pains, or red
Mm.
dot, or some people have the blue dot,
Mm.
and uh, I think this is also one of the chronic inflammations.
Mm.
But I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure. But I
Mm.
think it also could be one of the symptoms
Mm.
of the chronic inflammation, because our our bodies, which is I forget which is T cells or B cell, they think that uh this is uh this is the bad things for us, and then he fight, and by the end up it actually fight against uh our body, our body fight against itself. Yeah,
Mm.
so we got all of these like the symptoms.
Mm. Yep. And also, whenever you have, let's say, cuts or wounds, yeah, have you heard that people say, you had better not eat seafoods during the recovery? And also, I get this kind of advice from doctors also, whenever I have cut or wounds.
Mm. Yeah. I'm not. I heard. Mm, I heard some people say that if you like have the wounds, you couldn't
Mm,
eat egg or chickens.
yeah,
I'm
also.
not sure. But I'm not sure whether it's true or this is yeah, this is maybe this is a misinformation. I'm not sure.
Mm, yeah, yeah, because when we talk about those clinics, which is uh, I mean not the TCM, not the Chinese, uh, not the Chinese one, and actually I think X is not something they would say. They would say seafood. Yeah, it's mainly seafood. Maybe um it would cause inflammation easier when we have cuts and wounds and during the recovery. But for egg, it seems like they didn't mention it.
Mm. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, because once I got bitten by dogs, and then I go to the clinic, and doctors told me not to eat seafood first until my wounds recover.
Mm. Okay. So yeah, anything you want to add in?
No.
Okay. So that's all for today's conversations. How do you feel? Did you enjoy the conversations? Please tell us what you think about our conversation. And we are not native speakers. If you found any vocabulary mistake that we made, please also comment to let us know, because we want to learn more and improve ourselves. Remember to like subscribe to us. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.